We had showers. We made preparations. We put together a nursery. We bought a bunch of clothes the kid never wore. Oh, she'll look great in this, and she just sits in a t-shirt till she's 3. Save your money. Now, how was he able to give that statement? He was able to give that statement because every gestation has a set period of time. Just like the rapture of the church has a set period of time. And we know that the world has been in the labor and delivery room because in Romans, the 8th chapter and the 22nd verse, Paul says the whole of creation groans and labors with birth pains. Now, the birth pains don't start until you're in the delivery room. And if they start, the closer we got to the date, the more natural developments took place that let everybody know the pregnancy was going along just as it was planned. And on the day that the baby was coming, I finally knew the day. 12:05, she sat up in bed and went, "Oh." I said, "Do you think you're having a baby?" She goes, "Why would you say that?" Packed. Let me know if you need me. It wasn't like I went, "What are you doing?" I had been waiting on this moment, but I still didn't know until 3:02 p.m. that was the moment I would get to meet my daughter. So when it comes to this concept that no man knows the day or the hour, just like an expecting father waiting on the baby to arrive, you might not know the exact second, but you have a clue about what's happening when. We knew for a long time what was going to happen. We went to classes to learn how to breathe together, to learn how to wash it, to learn how to keep it, to learn how to put it up. But they didn't tell us how much it would cost. And yet, rather than just use common sense and consider all of the signs and the progress of the things that are around us, we would rather hang our hat on that one verse that no man knows the day or the hour and just throw away this idea that Jesus is coming soon. Listen to me, church. 2,000 years ago, the world went into the labor and delivery room, and every day and every hour since, we have been drawing closer and closer and closer to that moment when the trump of God shall sound and the dead in Christ shall rise, and we who are alive and remain shall be caught up to meet him in the air. Church, I've got good news. We're getting ready to leave this world. So don't get distracted by the details. Keep it simple. God has unveiled the mystery, and everything that needs to be in place is there. What is this mystery that God unveiled? He unveiled the mystery of the end of time in several sections of the Bible. Today we visit Daniel chapter 2, where we see an apocalypse, a pulling back of the curtain. And this first apocalypse, this pulling back of the curtain, was not given to a prophet or to a priest. It was given to an idol-worshiping king. If you don't think that God can speak to wicked men, go check out the conversations he had with Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar was no Sunday school teacher. He was a temperamental conqueror who conquered the whole world. From Babylon, he ruled, and he had destroyed silver and all of the artifacts that had been there for worship since the days of Moses and took them back to Babylon. He also took political captives and refugees, and one of them was a young boy named Daniel. Now in Daniel chapter 2, verse 1, we read that Nebuchadnezzar had visions on his bed. He had dreams, and these dreams bothered him to the point that his sleep left him. Over the next 12 verses, there's a very interesting conversation that takes place between Nebuchadnezzar, his kings, his sorcerers, and his warlocks. Fine, tell us the dream. He said, "See, there's the catch. I don't trust you guys. I think y'all are just going to make something up to make me feel better. So I'm not going to tell you the dream. You're going to tell me the dream. And only when you get the dream right will I allow you to give me the interpretation." Well, you talk about pressure in the workplace. And they said, well, I don't think anybody can do that. He said, well, here's the deal. If you don't do it, I'm going to cut you into pieces and burn down your house. Now, that's paraphrased, but that's a hostile work environment. The wise men, the warlocks, the sorcerers, they say, we can't do this. And Nebuchadnezzar keeps good to his promise. He just starts downsizing the department, one piece at a time. Daniel shows up for work on Monday, and he says, where's everybody at? They said, well, y'all got the axe over the weekend. And Daniel says, what? He says, well, the king had a dream. No one can interpret the dream. The king's not going to give the secret of the dream. He wants you guys to figure it out and then tell him what it means. And so Daniel petitions the king. He says, ask the king if I can have some time. Ask him if I can go talk to God and if God will not tell me what the king knows. And Daniel is granted the time and God gives him the answer. Now, without getting off the subject, that right there ought to give you a very clear scriptural principle that if you are ever at a point in your life where you don't have the answer, you're not in a hurry. Take the time to talk to God because God knows the answer. When Daniel gets the answer in verse 19, he begins with a praise to the Lord. He says, blessed be the name of the Lord forever, for wisdom and might are his. He changes the times, he changes the seasons, he brings a king up and he removes another. He reveals the deep and secret things, and then he says, I thank you and I praise you. Say that with me. I thank you and I praise you.
From Matt Hagee comes a revealing look at preparing for the end of the world, your guide to the apocalypse. Reassuring for those that believe, eye-opening for those that don't.
There's about to be an unveiling. The curtain is going to be pulled back. The apocalypse is about to occur. Are you ready?
A book both you and your loved ones need to read. Order now. Call or visit us at jhf.org.
This telecast has been brought to you in its entirety by the faithful support of Salt Covenant Partners with this ministry. Thank you, partners, for your faithful support.
You cannot blame and be blessed at the same time. You can play the blame game or you can be blessed, but you can't be both. We can relax and sit back because every setback is a setup for a comeback. You might be knocked down, but you're not knocked out. We walk with the God of hope and we will live happily ever after. Welcome to church. I'd like to welcome you to join me, Ben Corson, with Hope Generation here on the Hillsong channel.
Imagine a way that you could partner with Hillsong and be resourced for your life's journey. Imagine having a continuous stream of great messages, music, and merchandise designed to help you be an influence in every sphere of life. Imagine making a difference in a way that will literally surprise you every month. Introducing the Hillsong Team Box, an exclusive monthly subscription that delivers everything Hillsong directly to your door. Here's how it works. Each month we'll send you the Hillsong Team Box full of exclusive resources at 50% off, free shipping in the US, and no hidden fees. You can't receive this mix of resources any other way. So what's in the box? A combination of the best of Hillsong and Friends, worship, books, t-shirts, apparel, devotionals, and more. Join a group of people across the globe who are bringing the hope of Jesus to humanity. Visit hillsong.com/team to join today.
watching the Hillsong Channel.
When David said, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," he is also implying that God is the only one who knows what I really need. I no longer pray, "God, give me what I think I need," but give me what you know I need. God is the only one who has been in my tomorrow, so he's the only one who knows what I'm going to need when I get there. And if he knows I need to fight a lion, so I'll be ready for Goliath, I want to fight the lion. God knows what I need. He is my source. God is my source. In this fourth installment, I want to speak about the power of provision. Declaring over your life that God's got what you need. And it's a matter of you receiving it and opening yourself to it. Because in the scripture, the image of a window symbolizes both perspective, because it's what you look through, and sometimes what you're looking through is just as important as what you're looking at. Okay, I can prove this. I don't even need the Bible, and I will read the Bible in a minute. But those are not my glasses. If you give them to me right now. Whoa, you got problems. We need to pray for her. Miracles of healing, recovery of sight to the blind. Man, you look funny. Now, before I put these on, you looked awesome. But what I was looking through changed the dimensions of what I'm looking at, because it wasn't meant for me. Amen. I'm preaching on my recap. But another thing that a window represents is provision. Like in Malachi 3, where God challenges his people, if you will release what's in your hand, I will release what's in my heart. I want to bless you, but the windows are closed. And that's why we have these power windows, okay? The power of preparation. It opens the window of provision. God's provision often awaits our preparation. And so this week, as we talk about provision and perspective, I want to ask the question, is it possible that provision and perspective are one and the same? I'll make the case as we go here, but I'm excited about what God gave me to teach you today. And by the way, I always pray before I preach. I always pray that, God, they need something that I don't have. I feel like the disciples who had 5,000 men and women and children to feed and no bread. And yet God said, bring what you have to me, even if it seems to be too little, and watch what I will do through you. It's interesting, isn't it, that to provide for the people, Jesus did not bypass the meager supply of the disciples. He multiplied it. So the whole process of provision starts when you offer what you have, regardless of whether or not it seems to be enough to you. The little bit of time that you do have, that's the window, the perspective of provision. I wonder if provision is a matter of perspective. Elisha seems to think so. This great prophet is dying, and this new king has one chance to get what he needs from the mouth of the man of God. Let's see what happens. 2 Kings 13:14. Now Elisha had been suffering from the illness from which he died. Jehoash, king of Israel, went down to see him and wept over him. There's one thing about pressure. Pressure will cause you to seek provision and get your priorities in order. There was no seeking of Elisha's advice until the Arameans started to oppress the people of God. And when it got to that point, the king went down to see the prophet. I don't know what brought you to church today, but I sure am glad you're here. Touch your neighbor, say, I'm glad you're here. Don't even care what brought you here. You might have heard there were pretty girls in Elevation, but I'm glad you came. Might get a Valentine and a word from God. Amen. All at the same time. God is good. Supplies all my needs according to his glorious riches. That's not a pickup line, that's a scripture. All right, so he went down and he wept over him. And I understand why he's weeping. He's weeping because what he's losing is so significant. Elisha was more than just a preacher. Elisha represented the entire defense system of the nation of Israel. He was their window. Not only the window through which they saw the activity of God, but the window through which God would give them many times the protection from their enemies. He had a unique ability to strategically cut off the enemy's advances. And he would tell the kings where the enemy was going to attack so that they could be ready for it. Note that it did not prevent the attack from happening. It provided the strength to withstand the attack. Sometimes we get confused about the provision of God because we mistakenly believe that the provision of God will mean the prevention of problems. When we ask God to provide for us, what we're actually asking him to do, truth be told, is to eliminate the need. In other words, God, create a life for me that will make you unnecessary. And he won't do it. He's weeping over what's leaving, and Elisha is pointing to what's left. And in every season of my life, I have the choice. Watch this. My father, the chariots and horsemen of Israel. Elisha is about to leave the building. But before he goes, he points to the provision. He points to the provision. I believe God wants to point out the provision that he's placed in front of you in your life today. And I've been asking him to do that. Watch this. Elisha said, verse 15, get a bow and some arrows. Now, the arrows did not magically appear at this point. The bow didn't fall down out of the sky. It had been there all along. He is simply instructing the king to locate what has been there all along. What was in the house when he came. Now, he instructs him to take it in his hands. And notice that he does not tell the king to study the composition of the bow and the arrow, or to browse a catalog of bow and arrows, or to read the history of bows and arrows, because, you know, sometimes when we come to church, we want to learn stuff about trivial historical details that don't require us to do anything. But instead, get a bow, touch your neighbor, say, do something with it. Do something with this word. Make up your mind in advance. Even if I don't like that preacher's pink shirt, if he says one thing that I can apply in my life today, I'm going to use it. Get a bow and some arrows, and he did so. He was the original Nike advertisement. He did so. Just do it. Take the bow in your hands, he said to the king of Israel, and when he had taken it, Elisha put his hands on the king's hands. This message is for somebody at Gaston today. Get ready, it's going to come. And then verse 17 is our theme verse where he says, open the east window, and he opened it. Shoot, Elisha said, and he shot. And then he declared, watch this promise, the Lord's arrow of victory. The arrow of victory over error. If Paul were writing, he would say that I am more than a conqueror through him who loved me. Yeah. If John were writing, he would say this is the victory that overcomes the world. The arrow of victory, the Lord's arrow of victory. God is the source of my supply. God is the source of my strength. It's the Lord's arrow of victory, but he put it in your hands. God gave the victory, but you must take the shot. Now I feel the spirit of Wayne Gretzky coming on me. I don't even like hockey. But he said you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And he shot the arrow, but what happened next is tragic because he had the opportunity of a lifetime to completely defeat the enemy that was oppressing him, and he missed it. He missed it. He missed it because he didn't do, watch this, verse 18. The prophet said, take the arrows, and the king took them, strike the ground, and he struck it 3 times and stopped. The man of God was angry with him and said, you only did half of what you should have done. You had more arrows that you didn't use. And this is where I want to key in today. It is significant that it was not a lack of arrows or artillery that caused the king to miss the potential victory. It was not the lack of weapons. It was the lack of will. If you would have used every arrow that you had, you would have completely defeated this thing and now you only defeated 3 times. The power of provision. God has given me what I need for the season that I'm in. And I have a choice to make today and every day. Will I weep over what I'm losing? Or will I wield the weapons that are left? Provision, perspective. The two are connected. I'll tell you a story. I didn't tell any of the other worship experiences because I'm kind of partial to you guys, because after you, I'm done. On vacation this summer, and I turned on the windshield wipers, and Graham was sitting in the passenger seat. The windshield was dirty. That's what I noticed. He said, "Daddy, when you turn on the windshield wipers, I pretend there's a race." He said, "The dirty triangle that the windshield wipers don't get to, that's the shark's fin. The part of the windshield that the wipers clean, that's a whale. The wipers are the dolphin, and when you turn them on, they're jumping." Here's why I told you that story. I was looking at a dirty windshield. He was looking into the windshield. I saw a dirty window. He saw SeaWorld. And here's my premise. It's about perspective. Repeat after me. What I see is up to me. Elisha was a seer, and when he saw something, he spoke, and he spoke something, and he saw something, and the needs of the people materialized because of Elisha's ability to see and to speak. There is a connection between your vision and your victory. Your perspective is connected to your provision. But my mind plays these tricks on me. I only see the dirty windshield. Here's the thing that my mind is always noticing. I'm always noticing and asking myself the question, and I have the ability to work in any situation, to walk in, and I automatically notice what I'm missing. That's what my brain tends to think when I walk into a situation. And I want you to pray for me, because this is a terrible question just to walk in. Do y'all have that question? Because I want it on the screen. My brain is constantly asking the question, walking into any situation. Flow with me. What am I missing? What am I missing? I'm really good at weeping over what isn't there, or worrying over what isn't there. My brain is trained to do it. It's almost as if I feel like somewhere along in my life I took a class on how to walk into any situation and notice what I'm missing, what I don't have, what I can't do, what I can't control. Now, I give myself a little credit, because some people don't even notice the need. They just walk by it. It amazes me sometimes what my children will not even see that needs to be done. It's not that they didn't do it, it's that they didn't even see that it needed to be done. One of my children asked Holly the other day, "You mean I have to take a bath every day?" He doesn't see the need, because he doesn't smell the stench. You know, you can't get to a place in your life where you've been in a situation and condition so long that everybody else smells it but you. I mean, you can't get to the place where you don't even see the need. I remember a few years ago, I took a whole group of staff members, and the trash cans in the office were just overflowing. Not kind of full, overflowing. And I walked a group of staff around, and I said, "Answer me a question. Did you not take this trash out because you didn't want to take it out? Or did you not notice?" And you know what? Honest to God, they didn't even notice the need, or at least that's what they told me. And some people don't even notice. Worse yet, sometimes we don't see the need because all we see is the symptom. Can I preach a little bit? In your body, this is called referred pain. It's when you have something wrong in your chest, but you feel it in your neck, so you're trying to fix it in a place that it is not coming from. And when David said, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," he is also implying that God is the only one who knows what I really need. What I really need. When I pray, "Give me this day my daily bread," as Jesus taught his disciples to pray, I no longer pray, "God, give me what I think I need," but give me what you know I need. God is the only one who has been in my tomorrow, so he's the only one who knows what I'm going to need when I get there. And if he knows I need to fight a lion, so I'll be ready for Goliath, I want to fight the lion. I don't want him to prevent the fight, I want him to provide the faith so that I will. Because if I don't fight Goliath, I can't get his sword, and if I don't get his sword, it won't be in storage when I need it. God knows what I need. He is my source. Somebody shout, "God is my source." Tell it to the person sitting next to you, "You're not my source." My job is not my source. My boss is not my source. See, there are some things in life that are nice to have, but I don't really need them to survive. I love when Holly says this to me, and Valentine's Day is coming up, so maybe she'll say this to me on Tuesday. She'll say, "I appreciate everything you've given me because I try to take care of her. I really do. And always to the best of my ability." Sometimes that meant water and we eat chips at the Mexican and share a Speedy Gonzales. But sometimes that meant I could take her to Morton's. But whether it was Mexican or Morton's, it didn't matter. I was always giving her what I could. But every once in a while, she'll tell me something like this: "It's not the things that you gave me," and I think she means it. It's not the things, because she was there with me when there weren't any things. It's not the things. She loved me in Juniper Terrace, apartment C15. She loved me in the duplex. I don't love you for the Denali. I love you in the duplex. It's not what you gave me. Our love is not contingent upon a material possession. And I wonder, have I come to that place in my relationship with God that I really believe that if he didn't give it, I don't need it? My brain tells me differently. My brain tells me, even while I'm preaching this sermon, that I am not intelligent enough, articulate enough. When I go to tell my little jokes, I'm not comical enough, because my brain picks out the people who look hateful in the crowd every time. I don't know how I find y'all, but I find you somehow. And my brain will pick out what's missing. There could be 1,000 people standing up, "Preach, pastor," but my little brain, you too. I mean, I can walk in a situation and find what's wrong.